Hello, and this is the voice of the Crazy Jam Man. Welcome back to my channel, and this week we're going to make something new out of something old or junk, and as you can see, in the form of a tank. And not just any tank. This is based on the tabletop game TONKs by Apocrypha Now, and ideas from that game. Links in the description. Just sit back and let's do it. First of all, of course, we need a body. But as you will see later in the video, these bits of wood were absolutely useless. My bits boxes, on the other hand, are quite good. I found these things from an old walkie-talkie headset that was my son's. I got that off him. And loads of cogs, great stuff. And this pin is going to be the pivot, so the turret will swivel. We just make sure everything fits nicely. And swivels, and a bit of placement. Then before any gluing, I sand everything down and get my hands all covered in black dust from these headset things, whatever they were. Once all the pieces are sanded and ready, proceeded to glue the shell together with super glue, and then I hot glued the swivel base to the piece of wood. Incidentally, I went outside to cut a piece of wood that was approximately 70 by 50 mil, because the bits I had, as I said, were really useless. Once that is all together and tight, I make sure it still swivels, and then we look at the front. The front was another piece of the headset, with the earphone bit of the walkie-talkie, and it looked kind of funky on the front, so we marked it off and cut it off, and again hot glued it on to the front of our tank. This is the shell of the walkie-talkie, and on the inside here, where the screws would have gone in, they make really cool little things if you can break them off, use them as exhaust pipes or cannons, all sorts of things, little details. So I took those off and then cut some foam and stuck it to the back of the vehicle. And then I jumped a bit here, but you'll see I put the little grey panel on and then stuck the exhaust pipes onto that. Then we covered the front with a bit of foam, EVA foam, great stuff, will stick to anything, and I think anything will stick to it. And that goes. And then here you can see I had some little textured panel that I cut some half circles in, stuck it down with the hot glue, and then hot glued the exhaust pipes in. Here we got what I was referring to as a transistor, another part of the walkie-talkie that was from the electrical. So there being two walkie-talkies, I took both of these things, and I think they represent sort of gas tanks or fuel tanks of some sort. Now a bit more EVA foam behind the spindle, again so we can cover up the grain of the wood and stick all our bits of stuff to it. So I got this robot and I cut its head off because I was looking for something that might look kind of funky on the back. So again, sanded it all down, figured out where the middle was, and then I glued it in. I cut the nose off as well, I don't know if you can see that. And then these little switches or buttons that were from something else, I don't know what they were from, they went on either side. This is giving us a bit of a sort of an engine place. Then, to hide the face of the robot, I decided to put some foam over it that would represent a panel or some part of the engine, a hood or something. And here, these came from a plug, I think. They went on some foam and they go in as greebles. Then this bit of sprue, I thought I could make a sort of a roll bar from it, but the idea didn't work out that way. But we put some foam around here, as you can see, and it went on quite nicely between the engine and the turret. Alright, so now we're taking place a little bit, beginning to look like something. Just making sure the turret can still swivel when those are on. Here I'm twisting some wire, thinking of some detail on the front. So just got it into one of the holes and bent it round and stuck it into position. Oh yeah, someone changed the record. Okay, so we're going to cover the black swivelly bit with EVA little rectangular squares with the corners taken off. These I place all around and in various layers, with this foam with the detail on as well, and I keep placing them around and 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 around.
Right, you didn't put a kettle on!
Good record, isn't it? And around and around. On with the cannon, and I think this was a Ludo piece and a piece for filling up lighters or something like that. So they went together with super glue and then onto the front of the turret. A bit like a Blunderbuster. Blunderbuster TONK. That's what this is, the Blunderbuster TONK. I then put some more EVA around the seam to keep it all nice and tight. Now for some little details on the engine, I thought to use some guitar strings or any other wire you may have. So I place them in the centre of the nose and then onto these boxes. And with the boxes, or on the boxes, I drilled little holes and then glued them in tightly. Now we've got the majority of our bits and pieces stuck to our main body, a good final decoration. But a good thing is the rivets. Is the rivets. 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 Just about everywhere. They give nice texture, they break up the open spaces, and then when we're painting, they pick up, hopefully, some of the paint on the edges when we dry brush. I'll check it out, check that it still swivels, and let's put the dome on the top. This came from a little magic trick that again was in my son's toy box. And here a little detail of a spring which I'd say was from a pen, but I think it's a bit small for a pen. Lots of super glue on that so it won't move. And then another little bit of guitar string, which again with the glue actually lost a lot of the detail of the strings, but it still looks pretty cool. Then I drilled in some fresh holes on the top for some more decorative wires. This was green wire, plastic coated wire, used in the garden a lot. And from the headphones there were some holes there already. So I connected these up using this wire. And we did 2 of them, obviously. And glued them into place. Once they were glued, I got some more guitar string and bent it into a shape that I could fit it at almost a right angle to the body, and then again super glued it right in back on to make sure it still swivels, which of course it does. And now I think we're going to go on with the tracks. I like the track. Start with a cardboard cutout, which is going to be the base, and make sure it sits into position where we want it. And then I'll space out the cogs and the details. I chose the cogs earlier, and now I space them out to try and make kind of some sort of sense, although it's better if it doesn't make any sense. And we glue these cogs into position one by one, and then repeat on the other side. Once everything is glued and sturdy, then I did some other little details, which were bits of sprue from plastic kits. So I stuck them on in the background and they break up the empty space. Tiddly pop. Quite happy with that. And I found these other couple of things that came off somewhere. I mean, electronic. Well, they fitted in there. So now for the actual track, got some corrugated cardboard, and I cut out approximately 1 centimetre width strip.
Can someone change the record, please?
And then I hot glued them onto the edge and the wheels and the cogs. That would leave me any surface that I could glue them to. I would put a little bit of glue on and then press in the cardboard and move on and more glue, and so on. There, they're looking quite good. Onto the main body with hot glue. Make sure they don't slide. It'll dry in 3 seconds really. And there we go. The main body with the cogs. What the cogs, tracks. Yeah, quite liking that. A little detail on the back was this cable tie. I just cut a little strip off and hot glued it on, again to fill the space that was between the panel and our engine block. Zip, 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 zip. Nice. So I think now we're looking at time 2 paint, or time 4. I think it's time for painting. I must say, I enjoy the painting part. It's where everything comes together and you can see the uniform colour on your work. I used 2 blue paints by the Game Master range by the Army Painter. Again, links in the description. And I used a bit too much water, as you can see, so the paint turned more to a wash. But hey ho, I carried on. I started to cover everything. I did some on the wheels and the cogs, and then also on the turret. Then I went over the wheels and the cogs with a dirty brown and black, and really kind of plastered the paint over the parts that I wanted. Then I proceeded with black on parts of the engine. And then I proceeded with the yellow, the ochre colour, on the back panel, on some of the engine parts, on the front fender, and eventually on the dome of the turret. So I must ask you now, if you're enjoying the video, you got this far, please subscribe to the channel. It's a very new channel. I'm enjoying it, and I hope you're enjoying watching what I'm doing. I then mixed some black and some silver to give me a metallic gunmetal colour. So this special gunmetal paint went on the wire work, on the strings, on the main engine block, and then I dry brushed the tracks a little bit.
What? You say McKay's?
And then went over some of the rivets with a little bit of silver.
Oh mate, the bloody dog's eating them again.
And then I painted the back panel black as well with a bit of silver, but this again is going to have another colour on it a bit later. Then I went on with some red, and we did it on what was going to be the roll bar, the little light or camera on the front, and then I went over these black boxes to make them red, so they kind of pop out a little bit more than they had done previously. Yeah. And then with the rivets, going over the rivets again with a bit of black, as I say, to make them pop out a little bit better. A little bit of copper on some highlights, and a little bit on the cogs and metal parts on the tracks. simply dry brushing with black, just to tone everything down from making it look like brand new. For the rust, I used a bit of ripped sponge with brick red and rust metal paint. And I use a sponge to dab them on, dab them off, and mix them, smudge them, wipe them round. To give it a look of age, not necessarily neglect, but age in different types of storms. And of course rust on the cogs and the wheels, because they've been through puddles and floods and all sorts. So final touches with the sponge on the metalwork and the cogs, both sides of the machine.
Right, you gonna put kettle on?
And I kept applying different layers of this combination of paints until I had the desired effect and look. Then I got a tiny bit of yellow of all colours and used that to dry brush the entire model a little bit. Nice. Well, I've got to say I've really enjoyed building this week. It's been really good, great fun. And now the wash. I made the wash of black oil paint with about 3-4 parts, 5 parts maybe, of white spirit. And this goes on everything very liberally and brings everything together really nicely, toning down all the colours, aging it. So before we get to our results of the day, please give that subscribe a click and that like a click. And I'm going to ask you another favour, is to comment. In the results we got bright light and low light. So I'm going to ask you to comment which lighting you think is better, the bright light or the low light. Thank you for watching so much, and I'll see you in a week. Thank you. So I guess now it's your turn to make one, and you can send me a photo.